Welcome to Bangladesh.
Welcome to Bangladesh.
Welcome to Bangladesh. Our country has nearly 160 million people.
পৃথিবীর দীর্ঘতম সমুদ্র সৈকত এবং সবচেয়ে বড় ম্যানগ্রোভ বন আমাদের দেশেই।
আমরা এমন দেশে থাকি ঘুরতেই বেড়াইলে আমার নদী।
বাংলাদেশের মাটি এত ভালো যে কোনো বীজ ফেললে অতি সহজে হয় এবং ফলন খুব ভালো হয়।
But every year, tens of thousands of people are forced to leave their homes because of extreme weather. And when you rely on little income, even a small setback can have a huge effect. Amrai Pari means together we can do it. It's encouraging communities to prepare for disaster by working together. It started as a TV show,
Amrai Pari অনুষ্ঠানের আজকের পর্বে আপনাদের স্বাগত,
but has evolved into something much bigger. This time last year, Badol's potatoes would have gone to waste because he had no cheap way of storing them out of season. But Amrai Pari gave him the confidence to try this new technique. This is Mo. She follows Amrai Pari on Facebook and shared a music video about what to do in an earthquake. Lippi volunteers for the Bangladesh Red Crescent Society. She holds screenings of Amrai Pari in her community and talks about solutions demonstrated on the show. And this is Jyoti. He's developed a community radio show on disaster preparedness after receiving training from the Amrai Pari team. In 2012, BBC Media Action launched Climate Asia, the world's largest study of people's everyday experience of climate change.
I think a lot of the success of the show is that right from the start it was built on extensive research.
We asked more than 33,000 people across 7 countries in Asia about how climate change is affecting their lives. In Bangladesh, more than 82% people thought that changes in weather are making it more difficult for them to earn money. They are also worried about their health and about their children's future.
And people told us as well that they wanted to take action but they didn't know how to respond. And what was stopping them was not knowing what to do and how to pay for it. But where they were taking action, what we found was it was much better where communities worked together.
সবাই সাথে যদি কাজ করি তাহলে আমরা সবারই আমাদের ভালো হবে.
Whenever we design a new project, we do it with the audience at the heart of our planning, and we ask ourselves questions like what are the issues that people are struggling with, who's most affected, what big changes need to happen, and what small changes can happen along the way. And importantly, how can media and communication help to bring about those changes? And the Climate Asia research gave us a lot of insight into these questions in Bangladesh.
The problems that people face in Bangladesh can vary enormously from one place to another. Mojid Ali lives in the north of the country. Every year he's forced to move house because of river erosion and flooding. Shupti Nath lives on Kutubdia Island in the southeast. Increased salinity in the soil is destroying her crops. And Ojit Chandra Mondol lives in the southwest. He faces regular cyclones and floods.
When designing the show, we spoke to hundreds of communities and NGOs and local experts and collected stories of everyday problems. We also found stories that people taking action to adapt with climate change and extreme weather in their own way.
But what was missing was a huge megaphone to share stories of simple low-cost solutions and also to inspire others to work together and take action for themselves. In Bangladesh, we know that about 90% of the people have access to television. That is far more than they have access to radio or the internet. And that's why we focused on creating a television show.
এবারে আমাদের যাত্রা বাংলাদেশের দক্ষিণাঞ্চলে।
আমি আছি বাংলাদেশের দক্ষিণ পূর্বে কুতুবদিয়ায়।
আমি এসেছি সুনামগঞ্জের খুব কাছেই সিলেট শহরে।
আমরা আছি বাংলাদেশের সর্বোত্তরে কুড়িগ্রামে।
এ পর্যন্ত আমরা ঘুরে বেরিয়েছি দেশের নানা প্রান্তে, কথা বলেছি সেসব এলাকার মানুষের সঙ্গে এবং একসাথে জলবায়ু পরিবর্তনজনিত বিভিন্ন সমস্যার সমাধানের পথ খুঁজেছি।
In 2014, Amrai Pari began broadcasting on BTV and later on ATN Bangla.
Most of the other people are working on providing information on the problem of climate change.
very few of them are looking at the solutions, and I think Amrai Pari is looking at solutions, not just problems. And I feel it's one of the best programs in the world on raising awareness about the impacts of climate change, and particularly what communities and people themselves can do to tackle the impacts of climate change.
আমরা যে কৌশলে বাড়িটি তৈরি করছি সেই কৌশলে শুধুমাত্র নতুন বাড়ি নয়, পুরাতন বাড়িও মেরামত করে দুর্যোগ সহনশীল করা সম্ভব। বিশেষ করে যেসব এলাকায় ঝোড়ো বাতাস বেশি কিংবা ঘূর্ণিঝড় হয় সেসব এলাকায় এই কৌশলগুলো খুব কাজে আসবে।
After watching the show, other people began replicating the techniques used in the episode.
ওখান যেভাবে ঘর বাঁধে সেইভাবে শিখে এসে আমি এইভাবে আড়া বাবনা তীর চাল সেইভাবে সব সেট করতে সেট করে আরও আমি 20-25 খান ঘর আমি এইভাবে নিজ হাতে করেছি, এইভাবে হাঁড়ি করে বা ওই আরও যাদের নিয়ে গেলাম তাদেরও এইভাবে শিখছি সব কাজ।
So this was the first time that a makeover show like this had been tried in Bangladesh. Communities were challenged to create something against the clock. For example, when they built the bridge, we gave them just 4 days to finish. It helped create a sense of drama as well as showing people what can be achieved in a short span of time if you work together.
The whole concept of Amrai Pari is to entertain while giving useful information, and I think it's been very successful in doing that.
Amrai Pari invited 4 national cricketers to appear in a special episode of the show.
The episode told the story of a Dalit community whose homes and farmland are flooded for up to 9 months of the year. And Dalits are some of the most socially excluded and poorest people in Bangladesh. And so just featuring them on television is very, very unusual. But inviting some of the country's biggest household names to be part of that, it is unheard of.
Amrai Pari has told stories from some of the most remote places in Bangladesh. This riverine island community took just 6 days to raise the plinth of Mujid Ali's house. And the TV show has given a voice to people who are often underrepresented by mainstream media.
দুর্যোগ মোকাবেলায় এই এলাকার মানুষদের জন্য সব সময় কাজ করে যাচ্ছেন বাদশা মিয়া। নদীতে পানি বাড়লে, রাস্তা মেরামতের দরকারে কিংবা শীতবস্ত্রের প্রয়োজন হলে সামনে থেকে নেতৃত্ব দেন তিনি।
The media in Bangladesh is also very male dominated. I think the show has done a good job of amplifying the voice of women and also challenging norms in what is still a very patriarchal society.
তখন আমরা নারীরা একত্র হইয়া একটা সিদ্ধান্ত নিয়েছি যে পুরুষের ধমকি শুনবো না। হ্যাঁ, আমরা বাহিরে লামিয়া রাস্তা করছি, খাল কাটছি, ট্রেনিং এ যাই, আইনে দেখাই যে তোমাকে 300 টাকা মকো 200 টাকা হইছে। দেখ আমরা সঞ্চয়ও করি।
When we spoke to the audience, they liked seeing women take an active role. One woman said that women who contribute economically are better able to make their voices heard. Another told us she wanted to start a small poultry farm after watching one of the shows. As many women as men have watched the show, which is unusual for Bangladesh, where you generally find more men watching TV.
প্রিয় শ্রোতা, আপনি শুনছেন রেডিও নলতা 99.2 FM। আমি জ্যোতি আছি।
Staff from 14 radio stations across the country received training from Amrai Pari producers. They worked together to develop shows about disaster preparedness that were relevant to local audiences.
যে এলাকার ক্ষতিগ্রস্ত হচ্ছে, যে এলাকা নিয়ে আমি কথা বলছি, সেই এলাকার সাধারণ মানুষের কথা যদি আমরা রেডিওতে প্রচার করতে পারি, সেই এলাকার মানুষ যখন শুনবে কথাটা, তারা কিন্তু 100% মেনে নিবে যে না, এটা আসলেই এই এলাকার মানুষ এবং তারা এইভাবে ক্ষতিগ্রস্ত হচ্ছে। এবং পাশাপাশি স্থানীয় সরকারের যারা প্রতিনিধি রয়েছেন, দুর্যোগ ব্যবস্থাপনা কমিটি যারা রয়েছেন, তাদের সাথে কথা বলি, তারাও আসেন আমাদের সাথে কথা বলেন, শ্রোতাদেরকে জানান যে কিভাবে আসলে দুর্যোগ মোকাবেলা করা যায়।
The people who are in the best position to tell these stories are those that have been affected by the natural disaster. So it's about really making these stories, making these issues very real for the government, the local government authorities, so that they truly understand what are the decisions that these families have to make. And so then it's about how do you build in these concerns into the planning process and making them also a part of the decision-making process.
The Bangladesh Red Crescent Society has a network of close to 500,000 volunteers across the country, and hundreds of those volunteers have been trained, along with other partners, to run community screenings like this.
Community screenings in very remote areas, like the island of Kutubdia, for example, also mean people without access to TV can see the content. Amrai Pari toolkits containing discussion guides, games, inspiring stories and all of the TV content are being rolled out to community centers across the country. So the TV content can live on even after it's been broadcast. And we know that if people discuss the issues in our show after they have watched it, then they are even more likely to take action as a result.
প্রত্যন্ত এসব অঞ্চলে এ ধরনের ভিডিও খুব ভালো প্রভাব ফেলে, যেমন উদাহরণস্বরূপ আমরা বলতে পারি রংপুর পদ্মপুকুরে। সেখানে আমরাই পারি অনুষ্ঠান দেখার পর 150টি পরিবারে আয়রন ফিল্টার বানিয়েছিল।
Creating new partnerships is one way in which Amrai Pari has adapted and evolved over time as it's learnt more about its audience.
After 2 series, the Amrai Pari audience was asked in detail about what they thought of the program. And we used that feedback to adapt our format. For example, we learned that even when people know how to respond, sometimes they feel that an issue is too big for them and they need some sort of external support from the government. So in the 3rd series, we placed a greater emphasis on showing how people can use the local systems and structures available to them to support community action.
Yeah, I think the program's been excellent. I mean, it's reached a huge number of people and it's clearly influenced what people do, how they prepare themselves for a wide range of impacts that undermine their resilience. And it seems as though what the program's managed to do is change according to different circumstances. So that matters to us because the context within which we work is always changing.
At the end of the 2nd series, more than a third of viewers had taken some action as a result of watching the show. After the 3rd series, that figure had risen to almost half of all viewers.
It's great when we check back with people who have appeared in episodes or attended a community screening and we find stories of others replicating the techniques.
কয়েকদিন আগেও যেখানে ছিল গাছের গুড়ি সরু একটি সাঁকো, যা দিয়ে ঘূর্ণিঝড়ের সময় মানুষ সহজে আশ্রয়কেন্দ্রে পৌঁছাতে পারত না, ঠিক সেইখানে আমরা তৈরি করেছি চমৎকার মজবুত নতুন একটি সাঁকো। এখন গ্রামের মানুষ দুর্যোগের সময় দ্রুত ও নিরাপদে আশ্রয়কেন্দ্রে পৌঁছাতে পারবে।
In Rangpur in the north of Bangladesh, another community built a similar bridge after being inspired by Amrai Pari.
আমরাই পারি অনুষ্ঠান দেখার পর আমাদের মধ্যে একটা উৎসাহ জাগলো যে আমরা নিজেই সকলে মিলে যে যা পারি 50, 100, 150 এইভাবে আমরা টাকা নিয়ে নদীটাকে আটক করে একটা ছোট আমরা সাঁকো দিয়েছি।
More people in Bangladesh have access to smartphones than ever before, and that's brought with it a new opportunity for Amrai Pari.
When we first started making Amrai Pari in 2013, internet access was way down at just less than 8%. By 2015, that had doubled to 16%, and it's now overtaken radio for the first time. And the internet's a great way of engaging young people, particularly at the moment in urban areas. So we're doing a big social media series of films at the moment around earthquake preparedness.
আমি আমার মার সাথে, আমার নানুর সাথে, আমার বোনের সাথে থাকি। টিভিতে যা দেখবো তা সব কিছু আমার মা সিলেক্ট করে। আর ফেসবুক এমন একটা জিনিস যার মাধ্যমে আমি নিজের প্রাইভেসি অনুযায়ী, আমার ইন্টারেস্ট অনুযায়ী আমার ফ্রেন্ডের সাথে কথা বলতে পারি, অনেক কিছু যা জানা আছে তা জানতে পারি।
Amrai Pari is about the stories of people working together to face challenges, stories which are inspiring millions of others to do the same. We've discovered the unlikely, adapted to the unpredictable, and been delighted by the enthusiasm of partners large and small. But most of all, we've been privileged to learn from those ordinary and extraordinary people all over Bangladesh who are proving that together we can do it.